Are there any other comments in the audience? Yes.
Can you all ask questions for here taping this presentation? The cameras are not there.
Maybe passing.
Thanks.
Yeah.
I think my voice is loud enough.
But the camera can.
No pressure.
I forget. Is it on? I just wanted to know what you all experienced if you were able to bring your kids to work with you, and any kinds of problems that you had. Some of your jobs may not have been suitable, but sometimes we have to bring our kids to work because they've got a day off and you don't. And how does that work out? And what kinds of issues did you face? And that's kind of pretty much it.
Okay. Excellent question.
I have a fun story. About a week ago, my son was having a really bad allergy attack and was sneezing and coughing, and he's 4. He decided he couldn't go to daycare for the day. So I took him to my public health class, where they are in the midst of preparing exhibits for a children's museum for the Healthy First Friday in Baltimore. And so there'll be health exhibits. And so he actually gave the first 10 minutes of my lecture where I asked him, what could 4-year-olds do to be healthy? And he adored every minute of it. And I think my students did too.
I would say one of my children was difficult to launch. When she was in high school, we had a really tough time, and at one point she was persona non grata in the public school. And she's turned out great, I have to say this. But during that time, I had an inspiration that she was not going to stay home and sleep late, and I was not going to fight with her. She was going to come to work with me every day for 2 months. My teenager sat on the floor of my office working on homework, knitting. We called it Take Your Daughter to Work Month. And I'm going to say my friends, my colleagues, my boss, everybody just kind of, they'd say, hey, what you doing here? And she says, I'm spending time with my mom. And they knew there was trouble at home, and they knew there were a lot of issues. And I'm going to say that being able to bring her to work with me like that was one of the single things that turned her life around, turned my life around, and I was just in a really wonderful, supportive environment, where people could see, sometimes things happen with your kids, and, you often think that it's only the little kids that really cause issues. Not the case. You must all know that. If you're friends, even if you were perfect, which I'm sure you all were. So, yeah, for a long time, when I look back on that, I think I was singularly fortunate to be working in a place where I could do that and just have that solid thing where my daughter learned that the thing that mattered most to me was her, but that my job was really important too.
Just to inject a different practical aspect, some work environments, like certain types of labs, are dangerous and there are age restrictions. And then the other thing is, when my kids were small, if one of them was sick, either I or my husband took the day off because it would be unfair to bring them into that environment. If the daycare provider was sick or her child had chicken pox, we took the day off. So for economic reasons, what you can do is co-op with the other parents from that same home daycare group. There are a variety of things you can do, and we would host 3 or 4 kids at our house and then rotate, things like that. But my kids came to the lab for sort of field trips, and they helped with some experiments, and it was really great. But that was not something you could do on a daily basis.
Also, I'd like to point out that sometimes there's a real double standard. There's a mentor of mine. She had a difficult time at her place of work with balancing children, family, and her work. And male colleagues would bring their kids into work every once in a while. But when she did it, she got in trouble. Mm-hmm. And it's this, there's a double standard there. And so sometimes that can be a tough thing to overcome.